So what is a supply chain? I spoke to Abilene Christian University professor Dr. Don Pope, who gave me a pretty good example. This water bottle is made of plastic, made from petroleum. The oil used to make it was taken to a refinery, made into a polymer, formed into a bottle, put on a truck, driven to an Abilene grocery store where it was put on a shelf. A lot of steps, right? If there's a delay somewhere in this chain, like not having enough oil or not having someone to stock the supermarket shelf, it's bye-bye bottle. An industry that's missing a link in its chain right now is the auto industry. Over at Aero Ford, Fixed Operations Director J.D. Harwell says it's computer chips that are hardest to come by.
We're talking about the processors that go into the actual modules of the computers that communicate with the rest of the vehicle.
When the pandemic hit, manufacturers closed plants and car companies canceled chip orders, thinking consumers weren't buying. Demand grew for other products like laptops and game systems, so factories made more of those using the all-important chip. So when people started buying cars again, auto factories were playing catch-up for chips already in cutthroat demand. Harwell says overcoming is just the nature of the biz.
If you've experienced the downturn of the economy back in 8, 9, and 10, I don't see a problem why we can't, get over the hurdle and win the race.
So now we go to the labor shortage. For nearly 2 years, there's been a lot more help wanted signs around town.
With retail and then with your restaurant entertainment area, those are where a lot of openings are at.
That being said, unemployment is much better than a year ago, says Robert Poles with Workforce Solutions of West Central Texas.
It just went crazy. We went from 2.9 unemployment the first of 2020 in January, February timeframe to 9.7 in April. In the Abilene area, we're down now to 3.9.
Out of the 19 counties workforce serves, unemployment is down as locals feel safe going back to work. The pandemic also pushed some baby boomers into early retirement, leaving spots like teaching positions open. Pair that with the lack of childcare for young parents, and you still have local jobs left to be filled. So there is still a gap, but it's much smaller than a year ago and has a more clear solution.
Over the last 3 years, it's been an issue. As soon as that happens and the daycare centers start coming back, then we'll probably see another drop in unemployment.
Pulse adds that factory jobs coming soon to the big country have also reinvigorated interest in getting hired, at least in the next year or two.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting the next year.
So when will the shortages end?
If they had the answer to that, they'd have the answers for lots of other things.
No one really knows. But industry is likely to change because of them. Dr. Pope predicts the U.S. will embrace products made closer to home to prevent supply chain disruption. And these guys have their predictions as well.
That it might change people's perception to go from gasoline to electric or vice versa.
Manufacturers do a lot of automation, and so we're going to see a lot more of that, I think.
You may be asking yourself right about now, so did the labor shortage cause the supply chain problems? Or, well, let me put it to you this way. They are two sides of the same coin. Two parts of the same thing. You can't have one without the other, and without either, well, hopefully it won't come to that. With coverage you can count on. Mercedez Hernandez, KTAB News.